Climate change is the long-term alteration of temperature and typical weather patterns in a place. This phenomenon has become one of the biggest challenges of our time. Scientists agree that human activities are the primary drivers of these changes. This means the way we live, work and produce goods is affecting our planet. The term climate change encompasses both global warming, driven by human emissions of greenhouse gases, and the resulting large-scale shifts in weather patterns. It is important to distinguish between weather, which is short-term, and climate, which is long-term. For instance, a single hot day is weather, but an increase in average temperatures over several decades is climate change. Addressing climate change is crucial for the health of our planet and future generations. The impacts are already visible and are expected to worsen if no action is taken. Understanding the causes and effects of climate change is the first step towards meaningful action. Greenhouse gases are the main culprits behind climate change. Carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide are the most significant ones. These gases trap heat in the atmosphere, creating a greenhouse effect. This effect is natural and necessary for life on Earth, but human activities have intensified it. Burning fossil fuels for energy is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions. This includes coal, oil, and natural gas used in power plants, cars, and factories. When burned, these fuels release large amounts of carbon dioxide. This has dramatically increased since the Industrial Revolution started in the 18th century. Another significant source is methane from livestock and other agricultural practices. Methane is much more effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in the atmosphere, though it is present in smaller quantities. Understanding and reducing greenhouse gas emissions is key to tackling climate change. Deforestation is another major cause of climate change. Trees play a crucial role in absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. When forests are cut down, not only is this carbon absorption capacity lost, but the carbon stored in trees is also released back into the atmosphere. Forests are being cleared at an alarming rate for agriculture, logging, and urban development. The Amazon rainforest, often referred to as the lungs of the earth, is a prime example. Large swathes of this forest are being destroyed, contributing to increased carbon dioxide levels and loss of biodiversity. Moreover, deforestation disrupts water cycles and increases soil erosion. This can lead to desertification, making land less productive and contributing to food insecurity. Protecting and restoring forests is essential in the fight against climate change. Agriculture and industrial processes also contribute significantly to climate change. Modern farming practices rely heavily on machinery and chemical fertilizers, both of which release greenhouse gases. Livestock farming is particularly problematic due to methane emissions from animals like cows and sheep. Industrial processes such as cement production and chemical manufacturing release large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. These industries use a lot of energy, usually from fossil fuels, and produce emissions as a byproduct of their operations. Additionally, agriculture contributes to deforestation and land degradation. Clearing land for crops or grazing reduces the number of trees that can absorb carbon dioxide. Sustainable farming practices and cleaner industrial technologies are necessary to reduce these impacts. Section 5. Extreme weather. Climate change is causing more frequent and severe extreme weather events. This includes hurricanes, heat waves, droughts, and heavy rainfall. These events are not only more common, but also more intense, causing significant damage and loss of life. For example, hurricanes are becoming stronger due to warmer sea surface temperatures. Heat waves are more prolonged and hotter, leading to increased incidences of heat-related illnesses and deaths. Droughts are also becoming more severe, affecting water supplies and agriculture. The increased frequency and severity of these events are a direct consequence of the changing climate. They serve as a reminder of the urgent need to address climate change to protect communities and ecosystems from further harm. Section 6. Rising sea levels. Rising sea levels are a significant consequence of climate change. As global temperatures rise, polar ice caps and glaciers are melting. This meltwater adds to the volume of the oceans, causing sea levels to rise. Additionally, warmer temperatures cause seawater to expand, further contributing to the rise. Coastal areas are particularly vulnerable to rising sea levels. Many cities around the world are at risk of flooding, which can displace millions of people. Small island nations face an existential threat as their land may become uninhabitable. Rising sea levels also lead to saltwater intrusion into freshwater supplies, affecting drinking water and agriculture. Protecting these regions requires significant investment in infrastructure and adaptive measures, as well as global efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Section 7. Ecosystem disruption. Climate change is disrupting ecosystems around the world. Changes in temperature and precipitation patterns affect the habitats and behaviors of plants and animals. Some species may thrive, while others may struggle to survive or even face extinction. Coral reefs, for example, are highly sensitive to temperature changes. Warming oceans cause coral bleaching, where corals expel the algae living in their tissues, turning them white and often leading to their death. This affects the entire marine ecosystem that depends on the reefs. Terrestrial ecosystems are also affected. Changes in climate can alter migration patterns, flowering times, and food availability. This can lead to mismatches between species and their environments, disrupting ecological balances and affecting biodiversity. Section 8. Health risks. Climate change poses significant health risks to humans. Rising temperatures and extreme weather events can lead to heat-related illnesses, respiratory problems, and the spread of infectious diseases. Vulnerable populations, such as the elderly and those with pre-existing conditions, are at higher risk. Heat waves, for instance, can cause heat stroke and exacerbate cardiovascular and respiratory diseases. Air pollution, which is often worsened by climate change, contributes to respiratory conditions like asthma. Wildfires, driven by hotter and drier conditions, release smoke that affects air quality and health. Additionally, changing climate conditions can expand the range of disease-carrying insects like mosquitoes, increasing the spread of diseases such as malaria and dengue fever. Addressing health risks requires both mitigating climate change and adapting healthcare systems to these new challenges. Section 9. Economic consequences. The economic consequences of climate change are profound. Extreme weather events cause billions of dollars in damage to infrastructure, homes, and businesses. Insurance costs are rising, and some areas may become too risky or expensive to insure. Agriculture, which is highly dependent on stable climate conditions, is particularly vulnerable. Droughts, floods, and changing growing seasons can reduce crop yields, leading to food shortages and higher prices. This affects not only farmers but also consumers and economies worldwide. Furthermore, rising sea levels threaten coastal infrastructure, including ports, which are critical to global trade. The cost of adapting to these changes and protecting vulnerable areas is enormous. Investing in climate resilience and sustainable practices can help mitigate these economic impacts. Section 10. Solutions to combat climate change. To combat climate change, we must transition to renewable energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower. These sources produce energy without emitting greenhouse gases. Investing in energy efficiency also reduces the amount of energy needed, cutting emissions. Reforestation and afforestation are crucial. Planting trees helps absorb CO2 from the atmosphere. Sustainable agriculture practices such as crop rotation and reduced fertilizer use can also help reduce emissions. Policy and advocacy play a vital role. Governments need to implement policies that reduce emissions and promote sustainability. Individuals can contribute by reducing their carbon footprint, supporting eco-friendly products, and advocating for climate action. Collective efforts are necessary to make a significant impact. Everyone has a role to play, from policymakers to businesses to individuals. By working together, we can address climate change and ensure a healthier planet for future generations.